So today, class, we are going to be reading a book entitled A Bad Case of Stripes, written by David Shamond. Everyone say a bad case of stripes?
A bad case of stripes.
A bad case of
Stripes.
All right. So just looking at the cover, what do you think this book is going to be about? Yes, ma'am. Someone, say that again? Breaking into stripes? Okay. Let me get someone else. Anyone else? Oh, she already took your idea? No, go ahead.
Me?
Yes.
It's about diseases.
You said about,
Diseases.
diseases? Okay. That's a good idea. Okay.
Maybe too many bath bombs exploded.
Okay. All right. Oh, you have awesome, wild imaginations. Okay. Okay. All right. So, the story started off as Camille Cream loved lima beans, but she never ate them. All of her friends hated lima beans, and she wanted to fit in. Camilla was always worried about what other people thought of her. Today, she was fretting even more than usual. It was the first day of school, and she couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people to impress. She tried on 42 outfits, but none seemed quite right. She put on a pretty dress and looked in the mirror, and then she screamed. I'm going to stop right there. Why do you think she screamed? Yes, sir. Huh? She was full of stripes? Why do you think she screamed? Oh, the dress was too ugly? Okay. Nat, huh? Okay.
She thought it was the right dress.
She thought it was the right dress? Okay, well, let's look into it. Her mother ran into the room, and she screamed too. Oh my heavens, she cried. You're completely covered with stripes. This was certainly true. Camille was striped from head to toe. She looked like a rainbow. Mrs. Cream felt Camilla's forehead. Do you feel all right, she asked. I feel fine, Camille answered. But just look at me. You get back in this bed this instant, her mother ordered. You're not going to school today. Camilla was relieved. She didn't want to miss the first day of school, but she was afraid of what other kids would say. And she had no idea what to wear with those crazy stripes. That afternoon, Dr. Bumble came to examine Camilla. Most extraordinary, he exclaimed. I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any cough? Are you sneezing? Do you have any runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncontrollable twitching? No, Camilla told him. I feel just fine. Well then, Dr. Bumble said, turning to Mrs. Cream. I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment that should help clear up those stripes in a few days. If it doesn't, you know where to reach me. And off you went. The next day was a disaster. Everyone at school laughed at Camilla. They called Camilla Crayon Night of the Living, Lollipop. She tried her best to act as if everything was normal, but when the class said the Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in stars. The other kids thought that was great. One yelled, let's see some purple polka dots. Sure enough, Camille turned all purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted, checkerboard! And a pattern of squares covered her skin. Soon everyone was calling out different shapes and colors, and poor Camille was changing faster than you can even change your channel on a TV. That night, Mr. Harbs, the school principal, called. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Green, he said. I'm going to have you to come to the school. I've been getting calls from other parents. They're afraid those stripes may be contagious. Camilla was so embarrassed she believed that 2 days ago everyone liked her. Now nobody wanted to be in the same room with her. Her father tried to make her feel better. Is there anything I can get you, sweetheart? He asked. No, thank you, sighed Camilla. What she really wanted was a nice plate of lima beans, but she hadn't been laughing at enough for one day. Well, yes, I see, Dr. Bubble mumbled when Mr. Cream phoned the next day. I think I'll better bring in the specialist. We'll be right over. Why do you think Dr. Bubble said, Why do you think he said, Yes, ma'am.
I think Dr. Bumble
Speak loud for me.
I think Dr. Bumble said because he might couldn't handle it.
Think he probably found a cure? He said, you think he can handle it? You think he probably found a cure? Or probably found a reason why she was feeling that way? Okay. Yes, sir.
Probably said because he was thinking.
Because he was thinking? Okay. Last one.
I think he said E because like he don't know what to do.
He doesn't know what to do? Okay. Let's see. About an hour later, Dr. Bunner arrived with 4 people in long white coats. He introduced them to the Creams. This is Dr. Group, Dr. Sponge, Dr. Cricket, and Dr. Young. Then the specialists went to work on Camilla. They squeezed and jabbed, tapped, and tested. It was very uncomfortable. Well, it's not the mumps, concluded Dr. Group. Or the measles, concluded Dr. Sponge. It's definitely not chickenpox, Dr. Cricket said. Or sunburn, said Dr. Young. Try these, said the specialist. They each handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. Take one of each before bed, said Dr. Group. Then they will find out what it may be. That night, Camilla took her medicine. It was awful. When she woke up the next morning, she didn't feel different, but when she woke up the next morning, got dressed, her clothes didn't fit right. She looked in the mirror, and there, staring back at her, was a giant, multicolored pill with her face on it. Dr. Rush over as soon as Mrs. Cream called. But this time, instead of the specialist, he brought the experts. Dr. Gore and Mr. Mellor was the finest scientific minds in the land. Once again, Camille was poked and prodded, looked at and listened to. The experts wrote down lots of numbers. Then they huddled together and whispered. Dr. Gore finally spoke. It might be a virus. What's a virus? Do anybody know what a virus is? Yes, Ms. Lord?
A virus is something that you can get that can spread.
A virus that can spread. Something that you can get that will spread. Okay. Somebody else have a different idea? Yes, sir.
A contagious disease.
A contagious disease. What's a contagious disease? What does contagious mean?
Contagious means it can spread.
It can spread? Okay. Okay. And last one.
A virus is like
Okay. All right. You have another idea?
A virus is something that can like shut down your body.
Say that one more time loud.
A virus might be something that can shut down your body.
Okay. All right. All of you have good ideas. Let's see. Dr. Gore finally spoke. It might be a virus, he announced with authority. Suddenly, fuzzy little virus balls appeared all over Camilla. Or possibly some form of bacteria, said Mr. Mellor. Out popped swiggly, little bacteria tails? Or could it be a fungus, asked Dr. Gore? Instantly, Camellia was covered with different colored fungus blotches. The experts look at Camellia, then at each other. We need to go over these numbers. Again, back at the lab, Dr. Gore explained. We'll call you when we know something. But the experts didn't have a clue, much less than a cure. By now, the TV news had found out about Camellia. Reporters from every channel were outside her house, telling the story of the bizarre case of the incredible changing kid. Soon a huge crowd was camped out on their front lawn. The creams were swept with all kinds of remedies from psychologists, from different herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, and medicine man, a guru, and even a veterinarian. These so-called cure only added to poor Camellia's strange appearance until it was hard to even recognize her. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but nothing worked. One day, a woman who called herself an environmental therapist claimed she could cure Camellia. She said, close your eyes, she said. Breathe deeply and become one with your room. I wish you wouldn't have said that, Camellia groaned. Slowly, she started to melt into the walls of her room. Her bed became her mouth. Her nose was a dresser, and the two paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran from the house. What are we going to do? Cried Mrs. Green. It just keeps getting worse and worse as she began to sob. At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock at the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. Excuse me, she said brightly, but I think I can help. She went into Camelia's room and looked around. My goodness, she said with a shake of her head. What we have here is a bad case of stripes. One of the worst I've ever seen. She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. Here, she said, these might do the trick. Are those magic beans? Said Mrs. Green. Oh my, no, replied the kind old woman. There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I bet you like some, wouldn't you? She asked Camellia. Camellia wanted a big, heaping plate of lima beans more than just about anything, but she was afraid to admit it. Yuck, she said. No one liked lima beans, especially me. Oh dear, said the old lady. Oh dear, I guess I was wrong about you. She put the beans back in her bag and started towards the door. Camellia watched the old woman walk away. Those lima beans wouldn't taste so good. After being ate at, looked at, and laughed at for eating lima beans, there was nothing compared to what she's been going through. She finally couldn't stand it anymore. Wait, she cried. Wait. The truth is, I really love lima beans. I thought so, the old woman said with a smile. She took a handful of beans and popped it into Camellia's mouth. Mmm, said Camellia. Suddenly, the branches, the feathers, the squiggly tails began to disappear. Then the whole room began to swirl around. When it stopped, there stood Camellia, and everything was back to normal. I'm cured, she shouted. I'm cured. Yes, said the old woman. I knew the real you was in there somewhere. She patted Camellia on the head. Then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. Afterwards, Camellia wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at her school said she was weird, but she didn't care. Not one bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never had even a touch of stripes again. The end. So today, what lessons have you learned coming from Camellia in this book?
That it's not good to judge a book by its cover.
I like that. It's not good to judge a book by its cover. Someone else. Do not care what other people think. What else?
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Who else? How many of you, on a daily basis, care about what other people are saying about you? You wonder how you look. You wonder if you have the nicest shoes. You wonder what people are saying about your head. How many of you think about that every day? Okay. How many of you at times judge other people because of things they do? I know I do. Let me ask you this question, hands down. How many of you like to be judged by other people? Nobody hands down. Nobody hands up. What you do to others, be reminded. If you don't want someone to do it to you, don't do it to others. Each of us have our own lives to live. Do what you want to do in life. Don't worry about what people have to say. People are going to talk about you, whether you're black, white, polka dotted red, rainbow colored blue, whether you have stripes, they are going to talk about you. But you be determined that you are going to accomplish what you desire in life, no matter the odds. No matter the odds. Clap your hands.